Gather round, little dreamers, and nestle into your beds, for tonight we journey to a land of myth and magic. Close your eyes and let the story begin. In the heart of a forgotten kingdom, nestled between towering mountains and whispering seas, there lived a legend. It was a story told in hushed tones by fireplaces, a tale of a lost crown, a crown of pure starlight and moonbeams, said to possess the power to bring everlasting peace and prosperity to the land. This wasn't just any crown. It was the heart of the kingdom, lost to time, hidden deep within the sprawling, enchanted forest, a place of ancient trees with silver leaves and rivers that sang forgotten songs. The path to the crown was not easy. It was guarded by ancient magic and clever riddles, challenges that only the purest heart and the bravest soul could ever hope to overcome. In the grand castle, with its tall spires that scraped the clouds, lived Princess Isabella. She wasn't a princess who spent her days in silken gowns. Her spirit was as wild and untamed as the forest itself. From her earliest days, her grandmother would tell her tales of the lost crown, her voice a gentle melody as Isabella drifted to sleep. The stories painted vivid pictures in her mind, of a kingdom bathed in golden light, of bountiful harvests, and of people living in perfect harmony. These weren't just fairy tales to Isabella. They were a promise, a hope she held on to tightly. Now, a shadow had fallen over her beloved kingdom. Whispers of war grew louder each day, like the rumbling of distant thunder. The fields lay barren, and a heavy sadness clung to the air. The people's laughter, once so bright, had faded into worried silence. Isabella looked out from her balcony, her heart aching for her home. The stories of the crown echoed in her mind, no longer a gentle bedtime lullaby, but a call to action. She knew, with a certainty that settled deep in her bones, that she had to be the one to find it. The time for listening to stories was over. It was time to become part of one. And so, under the cloak of a starry night, Princess Isabella made her decision. She would venture into the enchanted forest, but she would not go alone. By her side stood Sir Gideon, the most loyal and steadfast knight in the kingdom. His armor shone like polished silver in the moonlight, but it was the unwavering loyalty in his eyes that was his true shield. He had sworn an oath to protect the royal family, and he would follow Isabella to the ends of the earth. Joining their quest was a creature of the night, a wise, old owl named Orion. His feathers were the color of twilight, and his eyes, two golden orbs, held the wisdom of 1,000 years. Orion could see things others could not: hidden paths, secret signs, and the truth that lay beneath a lie. He hooted softly from a branch above, a promise of guidance through the darkest parts of their journey. And last, but certainly not least, was a clever little fox named Finn, with a coat the color of autumn leaves and a tail as bushy as a dandelion puff. Finn was known throughout the forest for his quick wit and cunning mind. He could solve any riddle and outsmart any trap. He appeared as if from nowhere, a mischievous glint in his eye, and with a flick of his tail, he joined their small, brave company. An unlikely fellowship they were: a princess, a knight, an owl, and a fox, united by a single desperate hope. Their journey began at the edge of the enchanted forest. The trees towered over them, their branches weaving a thick canopy that blotted out the stars. Strange and wonderful sounds filled the air, the chirping of unseen creatures, the rustling of leaves like a whispered secret. The forest was both beautiful and daunting, a maze of glowing mushrooms and twisting vines. Their first challenge came in the form of an ancient, moss-covered stone statue of a grumpy gnome. The statue blocked their path, and its carved stone mouth spoke in a deep, rumbling voice. "I speak without a mouth and hear without ears. I have no body, but I come alive with the wind. What am I?" Isabella, Gideon, and Orion looked at each other, puzzled. But Finn, the clever fox, simply twitched his nose and trotted forward. "An echo," he chirped confidently. The stone gnome's grumpy face cracked into a wide smile. and the statue rumbled as it slowly slid aside, revealing the path forward. They had passed their first test, not with strength, but with cleverness. As they ventured deeper, they reached the banks of the Whispering River, a body of water so wide and fast it seemed impossible to cross. There was no bridge in sight, only a collection of smooth, colored stones on the bank. Orion, perched on a branch, hooted softly and pointed a wing towards an inscription on an old oak tree. It read, "Follow the path of the setting sun, from warmest hue to the coolest one." Isabella looked at the stones, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and violet. "It's a rainbow," she exclaimed. "We have to place the stones in the order of a rainbow to reveal the bridge." Working together, they arranged the stones. Sir Gideon, with his great strength, lifted the heaviest ones, while Isabella and Finn carefully placed them in the correct sequence. As the last violet stone was set in place, a magical bridge of shimmering light appeared across the river. They crossed carefully, their hearts filled with a growing sense of wonder. The journey was perilous, but with each challenge they overcame, their bond grew stronger. They were learning to rely on one another, their individual strengths weaving together to form an unbreakable team. Their path then led them into the crystal caves, a network of dark tunnels that glittered with every color imaginable. But the beauty was deceiving. The caves were a labyrinth, designed to confuse and trap anyone who entered. It was dark, and fear began to creep into their hearts. Isabella, however, remembered her grandmother's words. Even in the deepest dark, a single spark of courage can light the way. She held her head high. Sir Gideon, ever watchful, drew his sword, its polished surface reflecting the faint light from the crystals, creating a small beacon. Orion, with his exceptional night vision, guided them through the twisting passages, hooting directions to avoid dead ends and pitfalls. Finn, with his keen sense of smell, could scent the freshest air, leading them toward the cave's exit. They shared their food, told stories to keep their spirits up, and looked out for one another in the echoing darkness. It was in that cave that they realized their quest was about more than just a crown. It was about trust. It was about friendship. It was about finding the light within themselves and each other when all other lights had gone out. This camaraderie, this unwavering support, became their true treasure. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, they saw a soft, golden glow ahead. They emerged from the winding tunnels into a vast, breathtaking cavern. The air hummed with a gentle energy. In the center of the cavern, floating just above a crystal pedestal, was the lost crown. It shone with an ethereal light, more beautiful than any story had described. It pulsed with a soft warmth, like a gentle heartbeat. They had found it. But as Isabella reached for it, she hesitated. She looked at her friends. Gideon, her steadfast protector. Orion, her wise guide. And Finn, her clever companion. She saw the journey reflected in their eyes, the riddles, the river, the dark caves. She realized that the crown itself held no magic. The true magic was what they had built together along the way. It was the trust, the courage, and the love they shared. That was the power that could save a kingdom. Princess Isabella returned, not just as a princess, but as a true leader, with her loyal friends by her side. She presented the crown to her people, but more importantly, she shared the story of their journey. She spoke of how unity and friendship had overcome every obstacle. Inspired by their tale, the warring factions laid down their arms. The people started working together, planting new fields, rebuilding their homes, and sharing what little they had. The kingdom wasn't saved by a magical object. It was saved by the change in the people's hearts, a change sparked by the adventure of a princess and her friends. The true treasure wasn't the gold of the crown, but the unbreakable bond of fellowship. And so, my dear dreamer, as you drift off to sleep, remember the story of Princess Isabella. Remember that the greatest treasures in life are not things we can hold, but the love, friendship, and courage we share with others. These are the true gems that make our lives and the world shine brightly. Good night and sleep well. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to subscribe for more bedtime stories and peaceful dreams. We'll be back tomorrow night with another adventure.